What was I wrong about with Slayer? Ladies and gentlemen, Slayer, second character released in Guilty Gear Strive, season 4. All right, and when he was released, the initial reception was, this character sucks, like really bad. Like, why? And so since then, I believe he was released, I don't know, how long was it? It was like 2-3 months ago, like 3 months ago or something like that. 3 months ago, we've had times with the character. Hold on, I'm gonna fact check that. Okay, so 2 months ago, because he was released March 24th, which was just about, it's not even 2 months ago, but we've had enough time with the character that we see a bunch of players that have decided to solo main him, or decided to dedicate a ton of time into him, into actually trying to squeeze every ounce of optimality out of the character. And so after those 1.5 weeks or 1.5 months, I can now sit here and say I was wrong. Kind of. So what was I wrong about? Okay, first and foremost, one of my claims, yes, say hi YouTube. One of my claims was that Venom did low damage. And the reason why I said that was because a lot of his hits usually strung from doing something like 2K 2D into this, right? And that's about as much as you can really get. Now, another one of my criticisms was that even if you get this close slash, right? This close slash link, most of the time it misses, right? It usually misses, right? You see that? Bang, completely misses. So you would typically have to go for something like this, which was just objectively lower damage than going for something like this. And I messed it up, but still, even still, you saw that did a bit more damage. Now, here's where I was wrong. Where I was wrong is in thinking that most of the time you do not have access to high damage combos, even if you get access to close slash. Now that's wrong with an asterisk. If you have access to Blue Wild Assault, then you can go for a combo like this anytime you get close slash. Right? And that usually breaks the wall, and bang, that did a lot of damage, right? I know Axel doesn't have the best defense, but that did a ton of damage. Now, having to use your burst is a little whack, but it is a decent trade-off. Another thing too is that if you're in the corner, this link will kind of always work, right? And that does help with squeezing out some damage from Venom. Another discovery about Venom that kind of changes the way we look at him is with his command grab. Usually, we were like, his command grab has really high utility, but it does not do a ton of damage, right? Like, even if I do something like this, right? Like, I'm messing up the combo, but even if I finish the combo, that does absolutely nothing, right? And in the corner, we were like, all right, it's a little bit worse. In the beginning, I can only really think of this as a combo ender. Now, having a command grab to begin with is really, very strong, but the people over at fucking Guilty Gear HAL Labs or whatever, aka Gobo, discovered a combo that completely breaks the narrative that it does no damage. And this is the combo right here. Now, that did, well, what would you say? Like freaking a third of my health? A third of my health from a command grab? With no risk? Huh? All right, now let's say you add a little bit of risk into the equation. That right there is about 40% risk, right? But yeah, add just a little bit of risk into the equation. All of a sudden, you're getting some big chunky numbers, man. That is half of my health, bro, from a command grab. Now, yes, it was a command grab into super and it was highly optimized, but a command grab. That's a lot. That's some gnarly stuff right there. So while he does have low damage on average, like usually most of the time, it's not really as bad as we thought. Another thing too you need to consider is that this character is a zoner, or like at least he is a projectile setting character. And the reason why I say that is because yes, he can zone, and yes, he does zone in certain matchups, but in certain matchups he does not really zone like that. Usually he would kind of use his balls just to put himself into more advantageous situations. For example, kicking it and running after it does allow him to sort of like reposition himself in a way where like I've had moments where I kick and I run forward and people air dash over me, and then I'm able to anti-air them with close slash, and I'm able to get some pretty juicy numbers that way. And so he does get big damage, but only in certain situations. That's kind of the best way to put it. But it wasn't nearly as bad as we thought. At first I thought no matter what he did, no matter how he hit you, he would hit like a gosh darn feather. That's not really the case, which is good. So the next misconception that I had was that Venom is a bad zoner. He is not a bad zoner. Kind of. So the real funny and ironic thing is that he actually suffers really bad against other zoners and Potemkin. Like, what the frick? After playing this character for quite a bit, this past like 2 weeks, I can safely say that I have a bit more of a grasp on how his matchups actually work. And let's just run down the list real quick. Okay, so Axel completely and totally, he just firmly grasps both of Venom's cheeks and does anything he wants. Okay, take that. Look, that's just how it is. Okay, this is probably Venom's top 2 worst matchups in the game. It is insane how much control Axel has over the screen compared to where Venom wants to be. It is so annoying. It feels like I, as a Venom player, have to go in, and Venom's not good at going in because he's supposed to be his owner. Asuka is another one that's a little bit awkward. It's kind of strange because the way that his balls interact with the cubes, sometimes they go straight through, sometimes they trade. It's honestly very, very annoying. And another thing too is that while yes, Venom does do a good job at like hitting cube into special move, a lot of the times you kind of want to 6p the cube in order to have a little bit of head involved. It's really, really annoying to try to like bar slash some cubes, especially at the speed of which they're going. And if you 6p, you lose your gosh darn stinger charge, so you're not able to do like 6p into projectile unless you're like a charge partition god, right? Which that is possible. There are some charge partition gods, okay? But it's cringe. Also, Venom having bad defense makes it very difficult when Asuka puts you in these very, very obnoxious situations where he's just chucking flooding cubes at you from mid range, and you can't do anything because your super has no invul, and so you just kind of have to sit there and be like, I guess I'll just wait till he's done. I'll just wait till he's done. Now, to be fair, that is not a Venom unique problem, but it is important to know that Venom also has that problem. Testament is interesting. Testament is an interesting case because technically it's actually feels pretty gosh darn even. Yes, they both are kind of these like weird nimble zoners, which means that they want to like chuck something on the screen to put themselves in better positions, not necessarily just be full screen and start yucking stuff at you. And so because of that, if you do have better neutral, right, you are able to use Stinger to your advantage at certain like mid ranges. You are able to kind of like run in and bait certain things from Testament. You are able to kind of maneuver around Testament stuff. And so I would say against Testament, it's fairly even. One of the ironic things is I actually think that Testament does, or not Testament, I think Venom does the best against Happy Chaos. That's weird. That's really weird. So one of the reasons why I think that Venom actually does relatively well against Happy Chaos is because of this situation right here, right? Being able to chuck Stinger in order to contest Happy Chaos is kind of a big deal. Now, if I chuck this like slower Stinger ball, I'm actually able to get a good amount of distance, like about right here, before Happy Chaos is able to shoot me again. So basically, any concentration that Happy Chaos tries to do, Venom gets at least half of the screen to himself. And so it's a little bit difficult for Happy Chaos to really like assert himself in this matchup in ways that he's able to in other matchups, especially against other zoners. And now, let's talk about the big, giant, ginormous, massive, really, really big elephant in the room. We gotta talk about Potemkin. Where the frick? There he is. We gotta talk about Potemkin. So, Potemkin. Brother, I'm a zoner. Okay, you know what that means? You know what it means to be a zoner? That means I zone. I chuck stuff at you to keep you on the other side of the screen. Do you know why Potemkin just takes Venom, right? Busts down Venom's door, takes Venom by the neck, chucks him out of his own house, goes into his fridge, eat his apple pie that he was saving because his grandma cooked him some apple pie, eats it up, takes a dookie in his toilet, doesn't flush, and then sleep in his bed after being on the MTA train, okay? doesn't take his clothes off, just sleeps in his bed. Because of this stupid move right here. Now, why is this stupid move the bane of my existence? Well, if you think about Venom zoning, Venom sets a ball and then he hits the ball, right? The thing is, did you see that ball? Were you able to react to it? Well, so was he, okay? Potemkin can literally sit here and flick all day long. Here's what I'm gonna do. I tried to react to the flick and punish it with a stinger. And he could just do it again, dude. He could just do it again, man. He could just do it again. I have to like do it at the same time as the flick from full screen and hope that I don't hit it in order to get just into the tiny gap. That's a freaking brother. Why, dude? Why? Oh my gosh. I'm out here just setting balls, right? I'm doing my thing, right? And then this happens. And then he goes in. And then he gets in. And then I zone him out. And then we do it all over again. We do it all over again. Every single time I interact with him, he's just over here doing this all day long. All day long. I can't do anything. I can't do anything. Oh, just go in, bro. Just go in. Hey, I'm godlike. Oh, because sometimes that happens. Oh, just fucking go in, bro. Because you know what? Sometimes that happens. You know what else? You know what else he could do? If I try, he could just do this. He could just do hammerfall, right? He just do hammerfall or slide head. Any of these moves, right? Say he does hammerfall, right? Say he does hammerfall. Okay, and I'm gonna shoot a fireball at him. Didn't matter. It didn't work. It didn't work, man. It didn't work. Now there is a sweet spot. I can't even hit it. I can't even demonstrate that there is a sweet spot. Hold on, I'm gonna hit it. There is kind of a sweet spot somewhere. Oh, that's depressing. That's supposed to be two hitting. That's supposed to be two hitting. I can't even get it in the demonstration. I can't even get it in the gosh darn demonstration. He does slide head. Oh, I get knocked down, and then he's in. I can't do it, bro. I'm a zoner. On paper, I'm supposed to win. I'm supposed to win. But I can't, dude. I can't, bro. I can't get in. And so if I can't get in, what am I supposed to do? Box him? I'm supposed to box him, bro. I'm supposed to box the guy with normals like these, bro. And normals like these, bro. I'm supposed to fucking box the guy with normals like these, bro. You're kidding me. You're kidding me, right? You're kidding me. This is a joke, right? This is an actual joke. I think Potemkin is probably his worst matchup. It's probably his worst matchup, which doesn't make any sense now, does it? Venom's a zoner. That doesn't make any sense. The other problem is that Potemkin has about a million bajillion damage. And going back to point number one is that yes, Venom does do a decent amount of damage. On average, he's not pumping out them kind of numbers, man. He's not. Okay, if I'm close enough, if I'm doing well enough to be in close slash range, then I really did something really well. That's all I gotta say. That I really played really well. Enough of the doom and gloom. What are his actual strengths? Because this is a video of me actually like explaining why Venom's strong, right? I almost forgot about that. Let me not look at Potemkin anymore. I can't look at him. His actual strengths is that against the rest of the cast, okay, as opposed to those examples that I just gave, against the rest of the cast, his zoning is actually very, very strong and very, very versatile, okay? Now, there's a few reasons behind this. One, his 6P, okay, I did make fun of it. It's not that bad. It's not that bad, especially in situations where you want to. The thing is that characters with horrible 6Ps, they really feel horrible if your opponent like doesn't want to air dash at you. People really want to air dash at Venom, so it really doesn't feel that bad. Also, it's made better by the fact that he's able to set a ball and then 6P the ball, and so it kind of like makes his trajectory, his like 6P technically go farther, which, you know, it's a little interesting. Whatever. His scrambles are actually really, really strong, especially with his 2K and his 2D being very, very good. Q5 is a very amazing move. Look at the pushback on that thing, right? Like it's just so strong. Like doing something like far slash into Q5 is really good, like, because depending on which Q5 you do, you're actually able to continue your offense, right? So say I put my opponent in the corner, I'm able to still kind of like jump up and hit the ball. Q5 is one of those moves that it it is just not minus enough that Venom can't still take his turn. There was many times you'll see in a ton of my matches where I do something like Q5 into 5P, right? And against certain characters that don't have a ton of range, you kind of have to run forward to get in. The Q5 5P, right? This is just a massive stop sign, okay? I did kind of clown on the balls for not going too far. But in situations where you're actually scrambling and boxing with your opponent, having them not go that far, but still cover a decent amount of space in front of you while you're still able to hold block, or while you're still able to reposition yourself, it's actually really strong. It also helps that he has Dark Angel. Now, Dark Angel, I kid you not, is probably the best super in the game, question mark? I'm pretty gosh darn sure it's the best super in the game. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even being facetious. I think it's the best super in the game. What makes it so good is actually, you wouldn't really guess it, but Venom builds a ton of meter passively just because he is a very like high actions per minute character. And also, he doesn't do that much damage, so you're really going to be like hitting your opponent a lot too. So there's also that. So the reason why that is a good thing is because he actually has access to Dark Angel a ton more. And there's really no bad time to use this. There's definitely a bad time to use it, but there really is not much of a bad time to use it. It's very strong. As long as it comes out, it really doesn't matter if your opponent is able to reversal you or not. Depending on the reversal, sometimes some reversals eat it up, or sometimes some reversals go too far. But most of the time, your opponent can't really reversal it without it still staying on screen and still being able to hit you. Take this situation, for example. I'm going to do it point blank in his face. He will be able to DP me. And then he gets hit. And then he trades, and then he breaks the wall. And then I profit, and yippee for me. Another thing that makes this very strong is that they cannot YRC. Even if I get hit, it just stays right there. That's really good. Especially the fact that they can YRC, so it encourages them to do so. Really good. And so a lot of times you can put your opponent in a situation where they are going to be forced to guess high-low, right? You do that, either go low or, right, you could go high, and I think like the last hit will clip it if you're just perfect, or you can just run up, get right inside, and just go high. Like it's 20 frames. You know, they're not gonna react. They're old. Okay, I guarantee you they're old. They're not gonna react. And so this is not a video talking about, well, honestly, it was a video talking about how Potemkin still kind of like steals his lunch money every single day. But you know, this wasn't a video kind of talking about how weak he is or how strong he is. This is a video just saying that I was wrong. Venom is a little bit more developed than we thought. Well, not a little bit. He's way more developed than we thought, which makes him way better than we thought. And so, in my opinion, do I think he's actually still the worst character in the game? He might be better than Dizzy now. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. He's not dog dookie, absolute dog trash, Mondo dookie garbage. But he's still down there. He's still down there. For now. For now, though. For now. But, he can win. He can win. Maybe he can make a top 8 or 2. Who knows? Top 16. More likely, okay? More likely than not. Okay? Gobo did not make top 8 and he was playing better. But that might change in the future. We'll see. Anyways, that's going to do it for your boy. Thank you, guys. And, you know, if you're on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.